Hey, what's going on, Gio? Hopefully your test yesterday went well, and we're ready to rock and roll moving forward with triangle congruency. And then we're going to talk about, in Unit 10 here, we're going to talk about congruent triangles, what it means to be congruent, how can we tell that they're congruent, and then we're going to end it up with triangle proof. So we're going to still go to that two-column proof stuff that we're doing, statements and reasons. Our detective skills are going to get even better this unit. So if you were kind of on the fence about proofs and you're kind of starting to get it, we're going to go in more in depth on those. So good news, right? So our goal today is we're just going to determine corresponding parts of congruent triangles, lining things up to say, hey, if those two triangles are congruent, then these two parts are going to be congruent. And that's going to help us build up our detective skills on picking out the information that's given to us right away. All right, so the first thing is, here are some facts about congruent triangles. Congruent triangles have the same angle measures and the same side lengths. They have things we call corresponding parts. Both angles and sides are congruent. So you're going to pick one angle from one triangle and one angle from the other triangle, the corresponding parts. Those match up. Those are going to be equal. All right. Same thing with the side lengths. Let's say the hypotenuse of a right triangle of one congruent triangle is going to be the same exact length of the hypotenuse of the other right triangle. So we're going to match up things today based on what they're congruent with, what they correspond with. And then if we have congruent triangles, we can write a congruency statement. The order does matter because the order tells us the corresponding parts. So when we get through all that information, we can't just write it in any old way, okay? So here's what we know. And this is what a congruency statement looks like right here, okay? This is saying triangle KAT is congruent to triangle NEW, okay? So based off of that statement, I know those two triangles are the same. Based off of that congruency statement, I know what angles are corresponding with what angles and what sides correspond with what sides. So here's what I know, okay? We're going to go angles first. I know that angle K is congruent to angle N, okay? I know angle A is congruent to angle E. And I know angle T is congruent to angle W, all right? Anyone guess on why that's the case? All right, and no, it isn't because A and E are the vowels, so they're going to be congruent to each other. It doesn't work out that way. But yeah, you got it. It's the order. K was listed first, N was listed first. Based off of that congruency statement, K and N are going to be corresponding parts. They are congruent if it says the two triangles are congruent. A and E are in the middle. T and W are at the end. So those are the angles that we know that are going to be congruent. All right. Same deal with the side lengths. I know KA is congruent to NE.
Recording. No, it's all good.
It's all good. See, I'm a popular guy. It's like 3 days in a row already. I know AT is congruent to EW. And I know KT, all right, and this one's a little weird because they're not next to each other. KT is congruent to NW, all right? And I want to go back to this idea that order matters, okay? If I put AT, I'm going to look at AT is congruent to EW. What if somebody wrote down TA? Okay? We're going to go with this order matters piece, all right? I want you to get in the habit of writing the things that go together. So T goes with W. So if I wrote T first, I want you to start writing W first. All right? A goes with E, so A went second, E goes second. All right, so that's the idea of picking out the corresponding parts. All right, why don't you guys try on the second one here. Pause that video, you try it out. All right, well, what do I know? I'm just going to go in order. M is congruent to B. E is congruent to A. And L is congruent to angle H. All right, the sides. ME is congruent to BA. EL is congruent to AH. And ML, actually, you know what? I'm going to flip it around on you. LM is congruent to HB. Now, again, if you put ML, then you would put BH, okay? So corresponding parts match up. And then as we get going through this unit, we're going to learn different ways to show that two triangles are going to be congruent based off of these corresponding parts. And then we're going to have to do what we're going to do next here in a little bit is write a congruency statement. All right, let's list out corresponding parts. How do I know based off of what I have here? Because I don't have the congruency statement. We have different markings. Yeah, and that's going to be the idea. When we start out proving two triangles are congruent, first thing we're going to do is look for markings, okay? So let's do the corresponding angles. I'm just going to write the angles of one triangle, and then you can list the angles of the other triangle they're congruent to. So B is congruent to E. How do I know that? Because they're both got the 3 tick marks. If you look closely, 3 tick marks, but they also have it color-coded for us as well. So they're both the red, okay? A is the small yellow one that has 1 tick mark, so that's going to be angle D. And then angle C has the blue 2 tick marks. That is congruent to angle F. Yikes, that's bad. Angle F. All right, corresponding sides. Again, go by the tick marks, so I'm going to put my tick marks in order. I'll stick with the left triangle. So BC has the 1, BA has the 2, and AC has the 3. Now, when we're doing this second part, now remember, order is going to matter. Since I wrote B first, that goes with E. I wrote C second, that goes with F. Has to be EF. If you wrote down CB, then you would write down FE as the segment, right? BA is red to yellow, so ED is red to yellow. AC is yellow to blue. DF is the yellow to blue. Okay, matching up corresponding sides and angles based off of tick marks. Be very good at that because that's going to be something we're going to need. All right, now we get to write. It's saying write a congruency statement for the two triangles. Well, we have to match up with things that match up. All right, we got 2 tick marks here, matches up with those 2 tick marks there. That's C and C. Okay, E and B go together because they have the 1 tick mark, and that means the one without the tick mark, A and F, we're going to assume they're congruent. So one of many ways to write the congruency statement would be triangle CBA is congruent to triangle CEF. Can you come up with 2 more ways? And again, your 2 ways that you would come up with would be different than the 2 ways I would come up with, right? It doesn't matter the order, as long as, right? Triangle, I'll do ABC, okay? Doesn't matter the order of the first one. It matters the order of the second one. So now we have to match up. A goes with F, B goes with E, and C goes with C. Okay, as long as they're ordering up, we're good to go. So this or this is my congruency statement. Or congruency statement, okay? Now, we're going to use some algebra. It's giving us ABC is congruent to DEF, right? That's an if-then statement. And then we have to find the values of XY. So what I'm going to do is do ABC, DEF, and it's saying that they're congruent, right? So it says AB is 20, B to C is 23, A to C is 9x minus 23. And then second triangle, they give me D to F, 7x minus 11, DE is 3y minus 1, and EF, they don't give me anything on EF, right? So the idea behind what we're doing and what we did was this. Well, let's mark up this triangle, okay? Let's mark up this triangle. Since we're dealing with side lengths, we're going to stick with just the side lengths, right? What I know, AB is 20. That matches up with D to E. So I'm going to just put my tick marks where I know they're going to go. BC is 23. That goes with E to F because they're written second and third, right? So BC is second, third. EF is second and third. And that makes A to C congruent to D to F. Okay? Now we got to find the values of X and Y. Well, what do I know? It says right here, these triangles are congruent. So I know the parts that correspond together, the ones that we just marked up, are going to be congruent. So I know A to B, which we said corresponds with D to E, are congruent. I can take the two values, set them equal to each other. All right, and then we solve, add 1. And just to get a little practice, that was the addition property of equality. Then we simplified. We divide by 3 using the division property of equality. And we simplify, we get y is equal to 7. Okay? Now we need to get 1 for y. Y, we found y, now we got to get x. BC is 23. Can't use 23 because that's not matching up with anything. I have to go with 9x minus 23 and equal that to 7x minus 11. So subtract 2x. Using the subtraction property, we're going to add 23. Oh, whoops. You caught that before I did. Thank you. All right, 7x. We're subtracting 7x to both sides. 7x to both sides. All right, so then we get 2x is equal to, what is that, 12? And then divide x is equal to 6. All right, so we found out x and y, or y then x, right? Okay, you guys go ahead and try this last one out. I'm going to just set it up and go to town, okay? They give us angles and degrees, so it looks like we're going to have to mark everything up. So we're going to go M, E, L, B, A, H, right? So what do I know? I know M, E, B, A. I know E, L, A, H, B, H, and M, L are going to be congruent. And I also know, I really like the idea of the colors because that sticks out a little bit more. All right, so those values go together. All right, so let's go through here, input stuff in. I know that this is 56 degrees down here. So I know that H is also going to be 56 degrees. Do they give me anything on angle H? No, they don't. All right, I know angle M is 21 degrees. Well, that means B is 21 degrees as well. They don't give me 21 degrees. They give me A is 7y plus 5. Can you see what we're going to have to do first? Because the one with y matches up with the one with nothing. Can anyone figure out what we need to do to solve for y here before we move on? Right, and this again, going back to trimester 2, right at the beginning of trimester 2, we know that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to do 180 minus 21 and 56 added together, and that's going to give you 103. Right, add the two together, subtract from 180. So now my equation is going to be 7y plus 5 is the same degree measure as 103. And then we can go through and do our math. Subtract the 5, divide by the 7, and you get y is equal to 14. All right, now let's do the side lengths. We'll use green for this one. Right, it gives us ML is 25. Gives us TS. Uh-oh, I'm going to have an issue here. ME is 31. BH is 4x minus 11. Well, I don't know why it says TS up there. That makes no sense. They're to screw us up, mess us up, something like that. Thankfully, we have corresponding parts that have an x in it, and we are able to solve. So then we would add 11, get 36, divide by 4, x is equal to 9. Okay, so our goal today is to pick out corresponding parts, to write the congruency statement, and then from the congruency statement, can you pick out the corresponding parts, throw some algebra on top of it at the end, match up the things that go together, and